Declaration is main areas of human development: emotional, cognitive, and social growth from birth to late adolescence. There is a very strong association between our cognitive, emotional, and social systems. The cognitive evaluation of everyday events affects our emotional states, and our social relationships also affect our emotional states, and there is an intercorrelation between these three systems because our emotional states and social relationships also influence our cognitive development. The first 2 years of childhood are a very sensitive life period. A supportive environment contributes to adaptive schemas, but an unsupportive social environment can result in social, emotional, or cognitive developmental problems. Cognitive development includes the improvement of several cognitive abilities like perception, attention, memory, thinking, reasoning, decision-making, categorization. Based on the social-cultural cognitive development theory, the cultural environment determines the cognitive abilities of the child. The cognitive schemas are shaped through the interaction between the child and their environment. Cultural tools available within the society aid the development of cognitive abilities, or their absence can result in underdeveloped abilities. The child's parents, family, and school environment contribute to the formation of mental structures through social interactions. The zone of proximal development is the difference between a child's current level of development and their potential level of development, and with the help of members of the social environment, a child can reach their potential level of development. Based on the information processing approach, information from different sensory modalities is processed and interpreted through perception in the cognitive system. Attention is the cognitive ability that allows us to focus our mental resources on a specific task. It directs perception and helps differentiate between task-relevant and irrelevant information or stimuli. The active memory unit responsible for active information processing is called working memory or short-term memory, has limited capacity. Through active processing, information is transferred from working memory to long-term memory when we organize our knowledge using categorization. Emotions play a prominent role in the 21st century as they influence our emotional and physical well-being, our learning, everyday activities, our decision-making processes, problem-solving efficiency, adaptability to different life situations, personal successes, social relationships, and moral decisions. The communicative and social function of emotions is particularly relevant since we communicate with others through the expression of our emotions and share our emotional states as well as the events and experiences that led to these emotional states. The perception, attention, motivation, thinking, learning, memory, and other cognitive abilities trigger emotional reactions. Subjective interpretation influences whether we perceive certain emotions as positive or negative. The structural developmental theories highlight the emotions that emotions develop through interactions with the social environment, so emotional development is closely related to social development. Individuals with limited social networks also have basic emotions, but secondary social emotions develop during social interactions. Emotional development occurs through the interaction of physiological, psychological, cognitive, and social environmental systems. According to Struve, every secondary emotion has a preceding childhood emotion. Simple early childhood emotions like anger, joy, and fear evolve into complex emotions. Culturally and socially determined secondary social emotions include love, jealousy, anxious fear, bitterness, empathy, sympathy, and more. If early social interactions with caregivers and mothers are disrupted during infancy, the development of secondary emotions may also be negatively affected because infants learn that they cannot influence their social environment, which can lead to social and emotional developmental problems in the future. The theory of primary emotional systems distinguishes between brain systems that elicit negative and positive emotions, which also influence personality traits such as agreeableness, extroversion, openness, and neuroticism. Within positive emotions are identified the seeking, lust, care, and play brain emotional systems, while within negative emotions are identified the fear, rage, anger, and sadness or panic brain emotional systems. Social play is the most crucial emotional brain system in childhood, with an evolutionary role in forming and maintaining social relationships. The absence of social play in childhood and increased engagement in non-social forms of play, such as phone and computer games, can lead to reduced social skills. Attachment is a very important process in emotional and social development. John Bowlby defined attachment as a genetically encoded process. This means that infants are born with the ability to form attachments. Children can form attachments with multiple individuals, but one of these, the primary attachment, is particularly significant and qualitatively different. Typically, the primary attachment forms with the caregiver, usually the mother, during the sensitive period within the first 2 years of life. Damage to the primary attachment can negatively affect the establishment and maintenance of later social relationships. Children who experience maternal deprivation may have difficulty trusting others, perceive themselves as less lovable and valuable, and feel less capable of effectively managing social relationships. According to Jean Piaget's stage theory of development, egocentric thinking characterizes a child's cognition until the end of preschool age. The children are unable to take others' perspectives into account, and their behavior is entirely motivated by the satisfaction of their own needs, disregarding the viewpoints of others. During the concrete operational stage, the child gradually develops the decentration ability, taking into consideration the perspectives of others. They begin to recognize others' emotions and understand that viewpoints beyond their own behavior. Through understanding others' perspectives and motives, empathy, the capacity for compassion towards others, prosocial behaviors develop in the child. According to the social learning theory, children acquire social behaviors and emotions through observation and imitation, a process known as observational learning. Significant individuals such as parents, family members, teachers, peers, or even fictional cartoon characters serve as models for children. According to the social learning theory, children can acquire empathy and social skills through observational learning. However, they can also learn negative forms of behaviors and emotions, such as aggression. I would like to finish my presentation with a quote from Jeremy Holmes and John Bowlby. A securely attached child will store an internal working model of a responsive, loving, reliable caregiver, and of a self that is worthy of love and attention, and will bring these assumptions to bear on all other relationships. Conversely, an insecurely attached child may view the world as a dangerous place in which other people are to be treated with great caution and see himself as ineffective and unworthy to love. These assumptions are relatively stable and enduring. Those built up in the early years of life are particularly persistent and unlikely to be modified in subsequent experience. Thank you for your attention.